Hey guys, so we're gonna talk about foiling, specifically a partial foil, and then we're gonna go into a full head foil. Like I told you guys earlier, typically if we were doing a partial foil, we would start on our dominant side. So I'm right-handed, I would start on the right side of my client, facing me. Obviously that would be her left side, but I would start on this side because I am right-handed. Our foils are gonna come at a slight diagonal. It's gonna be a diagonal back section and I'm a subsection, and I'm going to show you what that is right now. But I wanted to pop some foils in on the side so you guys could see how they would lay at a diagonal. Okay, and if we were doing a full head foil, like I said earlier, we would be started in the back, and Miss Berrigan is going to show us some installs in the back as well. Anytime that we're doing a foil on anyone, depending on the pattern, if it's just a traditional foil, we're always going to foil the hairline. So the hairline, right, runs around the front, over the ears, and then to the back of the nape area. So we would always start these foils that we're doing on a weave, okay? And I'm going to show you what that looks like on a mannequin. Mannequin hairlines can be very challenging. Foiling a mannequin can be challenging. So I'm gonna just kind of show you some tricks of what I show my students to do to make things a little easier for them, especially if we're popping in something like a money piece, or we're just doing some baby lights around the hairline, or just trying to get a foil on the hairline, okay? So I'm gonna come in here on this side. I'm gonna ask my client to lean like this. Now, our mannequins don't have a bendable neck, right? So they're just like this, which makes it even more challenging. So if you can foil a mannequin, you can foil a person, okay? So we're learning this on something that is more challenging than it probably should be. I'm gonna go ahead and bring my product over to my right-hand side because I always wanna work from my dominant side. I don't wanna make my life harder, I wanna work smarter. I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna start this on a diagonal back. Ooh, she's a little drunk right now. I'm gonna start this on a diagonal back. Okay, so what that means is my diagonal is going to go back to the back of her head, this way, all the way up. So it's gonna be like that way, okay? I'm gonna bring this down and I'm gonna take it a diagonal. Now, Miss Berrigan, there's something that we call an alternate start on a mannequin, or no, not on a foil. It's called an alternate start, and it has to do with how we foil around the hairline and over the ear. We're not going to show you that in the videos. That's something Ms. Berrigan will teach you, how to do the alternate start. And basically what that does is it encompasses this hair and this hair as well, so that when she pulls her hair up, your client pulls your hair up, there's no dark spots anywhere, okay? This is just a traditional start at a diagonal. Now, I have to weave this section, okay? And notice how small of a section I've taken down. You can take even smaller than that, even thinner than that, if you want to when you're starting on a hairline. Now again, this is just for a mannequin. On a person, we would just start how they wanted it. We would look at the picture that they gave us, or ask us, do you want to see brightness around your face? And then we would start with that subsection. Now, people have baby hairs, right? So we would take into account the baby hairs, all the things. When you start to foil people, you'll see what I mean. But again, if you can place a foil in a mannequin on the hairline, you're good, okay? Another thing is our mannequins are plugged at an angle going back. So this hair naturally wants to go away from her face, or it wants to pop out, okay? So that makes it even more challenging. So we're gonna do our very best, but I've taken down very little hair. I'm at a very steep diagonal, okay? And I'm gonna kind of pivot this diagonal out a little bit as I go, and I'll show you what that looks like. This, again, is just to help me. I'm gonna come in, and again, I have to weave on my hairline, so I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna weave very, very fine. Let me redo that. Very fine weave, just to kind of get in here and make sure that I'm not putting way too much hair in my foil. I might even weave less than usual, just because I want to make sure that I get that foil in. So if you could see that separation, there's my weave, okay? So I'm going to come in. I'm going to put my foil on my comb just like always. None of that changes. Okay, come around. I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna lift my hair high up at a high elevation. and I'm gonna come directly underneath that and pull down, okay? Again, I lifted that really high up, tucked my foil in, and now I'm gonna wrap around my comb. Now again, this is just little tips and tricks that I've learned over my years of teaching foiling a mannequin and listening to students complain of how to get these foils in tighter at the scalp, okay? So there we go, it's nice and tight. I'm gonna apply my product just like always, okay? Come in about a few inches away. I'm gonna shimmy up sooner. So I'm shimmying up just a little bit sooner. I'm gonna hold my brush here, hold my 2 fingers, and I'm going to continue applying my product, okay? Flatten out my foil just like always, very light-handed. Jay my hair up, shimmy the rest of the way. Picking up my elevation just a tiny bit, okay? Now I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna fold my foil. Again, being careful not to pull as I fold, pinching my corners. I'm gonna fold that one more time, okay? Pinching my corners. I'm gonna lift this up. I'm going to secure it in with my insurance, and now I'm going to fold it nice and closed, okay? So that keeps my foil right on that hairline. It's not hanging too badly. It's right where it needs to be. Now, it can get very challenging, I'm just saying, and the sides are the hardest part, all right? So my next foil that I'm gonna put in here is also going to be a weave. So our first 2 foils at the very least are gonna be a weave. I'm not gonna follow that same steep line. I'm gonna come out just a little bit on my diagonal back. So it's just a little flatter than that first line, okay? And again, this is going to be one more challenging foil, just one more, okay? I want to weave on this one as well. And I'm going to just take a fine to medium weave going across. I have my section, there's my weave, okay? I'm gonna come in, again, get my foil. And this is gonna take some practicing, guys. You guys, we have to remember that we don't come out of the womb, or we're not born knowing these skills. These are skills that we have to practice over and over and over again to get, okay? So again, my elevation is gonna come up high here. I'm gonna tuck my foil underneath, and that's gonna get me nice and close, even though I'm working on a mannequin. Okay, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna just kind of make sure that's nice and tight, just like it is. At this point, I don't really need to hold it with my fingers because it's tighter than the first one, but I'm gonna come in and shimmy my product up a little higher than usual. And that's gonna help me hold my hair down. Okay, I'm gonna finish it coming down. Grab a little bit more product here. J this up. Okay, got a little too much on my brush, and then I'm gonna shimmy that up to the new growth, but not on the scalp, just like always. Okay, folding my foil again halfway, being careful not to pull it. I'm going to fold it one more time. I'm going to come in and I'm going to get a little bit closer with the back and securing it. And then I'm going to fold my corners in, just like that, okay? Now I'm out of the hot zone, or the zone where it's like, you know, it's gonna be challenging for me. So now as I go in through here, it's gonna be a little bit easier. Now, the reason that we put our foils in at a diagonal is because if my client were to pull her hair up in a ponytail, we would wanna make sure that this hair didn't look stripy, like just lines running across. We'd want some nice broken up dimension there. So that's why we put these in at a diagonal. Now, because I'm not technically on that hairline anymore, I can start slicing. So I'm gonna take, in this case, I'm gonna take a 1/2 inch subsection. My skip is gonna be a 1/2 inch, okay? And I'm gonna go ahead and clip this up. Now this is where your alligator clips and your duckbill clips or your little clips will come in handy when you're coming up the side of the head. You can still use your butterfly clips. It's just gonna be just a tiny bit more challenging. All right, I'm gonna come in, and now because I'm on I'm on the interior, I'm no longer on the hairline, I'm gonna come in and slice. I still am only doing an 1/8 inch subsection. Okay. I'm gonna come in, keep my shiny side on. I'm gonna create my insurance on the back of my foil, just like always. And you can still come in with your high elevation if you want to, guys. This is a great tip for any part of the head, not just around the hairline or the sides of the head. Higher elevation when you're putting that foil in is gonna produce a tighter foil no matter what. Okay. So place my product in, away from the scalp. And I'm gonna come in down here, curl my ends up, jam up, whatever you wanna call it. And I'm gonna shimmy up to my new growth. Same thing, over and over, over and over. And we do this a lot, guys. We do it so much that, you know, it's so important that we do these things over and over and over again, because think about doing hair. The majority of people are gonna come in, they're gonna want chemical done on their hair. They're gonna want color done. And so this is a very, very lucrative service. Lucrative means it makes a lot of money. So you wanna know it. All right, so I'm gonna come in, same diagonal, 1/2 inch skip. Okay, in this case, we're just doing a 1/2 inch skip for video purposes. I'm gonna utilize my alligator clip. And I'm gonna come in again, and I can kind of lean my mannequin forward a little bit so I can see a little bit better. And I'm gonna skim off the top of that my 1/8 of an inch slice. 1/8 of an inch right there, boom. And I can check myself even as I'm going, like if this is my 80th time doing a foil, I still wanna kind of check myself. Eventually it will become muscle memory. Muscle memory means you do it so much that it just becomes like second nature. Okay, so think about something that you do a lot, whatever you do all the time, it just is so easy for you. That's the idea. We want you to do these things so many times, so much that it just becomes so simple. Okay. I'm gonna apply my product. Curl up my ends, shimmy my new growth. Okay. Fold that over, fold that over, lock my back, lock my sides, and I keep going. Okay, 1/2 inch subsection right here. And I'm gonna go ahead and utilize one of these guys, my little duckbill, and I can turn my mannequin. Remember, your mannequin moves, so please turn her. Your client moves, please turn her. We want our feet and our back to last us, right? So make sure that you're making your body as comfortable as possible when you're working. All right. Taking my foil, going around my comb. High elevation if you need it, come in, place your foil in, just like always. Okay, apply my product. Now there are other skips that we can do. We talked about, right now we're doing 1/2 inch skips just for video purposes, so I'm not here all the live long day foiling. And you get bored and don't listen anymore, which you probably have already started to do that. But I can do 1/4 of an inch skips. I can do 1/8 of an inch skips. It's all gonna depend on what my client brings me. What kind of picture did he or she bring to me, right? I have to be able to understand what that pattern is telling me, right? If the hair is super blended and it's super blonde, there's tons and tons of blonde, I'm probably going to be doing 1/8 of an inch skips and maybe some baby lights or maybe some medium weaves, something like that. So now I have this section of hair. I'm gonna go ahead and take my 1/2 inch skip, flip this little piece out of the way, and we'll talk about options for this little triangle in a second. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna come in, take my fine slice right there. Another thing, guys, that we haven't really talked about, when you slice and you weave, you want to make sure that you're not slicing here or weaving down here. You want to slice and weave as close to the scalp because you're going to get more precision, right? So we want to be as precise as we can when we are working with foils, or we're foiling here. Okay, so I'm going to wrap that around. Higher elevation, tuck it in. Okay. Stay at my ends, and I have some shimmying to do. And my brush is getting a little bit clumpy, so I'm gonna wipe some of that off. And if this was real life and this was happening to me, which is, it happens, it's real life, I could utilize my towel to just kind of clean it off a little, kind of make it neat again. Okay. All right. Fold it, fold it. Secure my insurance. And I fold my corners over. Okay. So now I have this little triangle, right? I could do a number of things with this triangle. What I would recommend you doing when you're first starting is just leaving it, right? Because think about your dimension. You have highlights up here on the top, or you will have highlights up here on the top. So you still want to have that dark where the light rests over, okay? Maybe if somebody was getting really, really small subsections, you could come in here and put another, maybe a weave in there, or a really, really fine slice. But for now, with that triangle being as small as it is, we're just gonna leave it, okay? And so this, again, is what it would look like. This exactly was what it would look like if we were doing a partial foil. Just those first 3 sections.